119 test defeats in 24 years. And a healthy part of those 24 years, we've had players like Courtney Ambrose, Courtney Walsh, Brian Lara, Chris Gale, Shivnarine Chandapal, Ramnaresh Sarwan, and the list goes on and on and on. And yet still, we have not been able to consistently put together performances to stem the slide. I remember back in the year 2000, West Indies went to England for a 5-match test series. Started out the series really well, blew England out the water, batted once. And if you look at both teams on paper at that time, England were significantly weaker than the West Indies. And somehow, the Englishmen managed to look at themselves and say, this cannot continue, and went on to win the next 4 matches. Trouncing West Indies handsomely. And that series was full of dramatic collapses. We would start well, and then the wickets would just fall in clumps for the rest of the series. And that has been West Indies' MO since the year 2000. The odd spectacular victory, like we had at the Gabba, but that was either preceded by numerous dramatic collapses, or after the fact, numerous dramatic collapses, as we have seen in the last 2 test matches. Looking at some of the reactions on the internet, some people went to, oh, well, the CWI is not doing this. The local franchises are not doing this. That is easy. That is easy. That is easy. It's easy to look at them and say, and I'm not disputing that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I'm not disputing that they're not doing their job, sorry. What I'm saying is, when you as a player are selected in that 11 to cross the boundary ropes, when you got on your white with the nice maroon trimmings, what is the thought process at that point in time? What are you thinking? Is your mind on the CWI and their lack? Or is your mind on the job at hand? Because you've got to put in a performance. Because it's easy to say, well, the board is not doing their job, so we're not going to do our job. Then what does that say about you as a player? When Craig Brathwaite, when Mikyle Louis, when Kirk McKenzie, Athenaeus, Hodge, Sinclair, Holder, De Silva, Alzari Joseph, Shamar Joseph, Jaden Seas, when you all sit and look at yourselves, what is the conversation, that personal conversation that you're having with yourself? And I often wonder that, like, at what point in time you're going to be like, this has got to stop. Everybody's going to look at themselves and be like, the buck stops with me. We all can't keep kicking the can down the road. And it cannot be the odd spectacular victories. There has to be we have to be able to go on a consistent run. Winning 6, 7, 8 test matches out of 10, whatever it is. That level of consistency, winning and putting in good, strong performances has got to start happening. I'm seeing people talking about, is test cricket on the threat? Test cricket is on the trend. Don't make no bones about it. T20 is like a freight train right now coming for Test cricket. And the fact that the matter that the ICC is spineless to do anything about it, creates a bigger problem, because if you look at West Indies in these 2 matches, we're still in preparation mode. Most of the players haven't played a first-class match since May. Craig Brathwaite, McKenzie, Athanaze, Hodge, De Silva, Sinclair. Hell, for Alzari and Shamar Joseph, it was the last Test match in Australia way back in January. And that is because part of the problem is the ICC not fixing the cricket calendar. So teams like West Indies are feeling the brunt of it. But that still doesn't say that those 11 players that show up on that field to play shouldn't put their hands up and say, we got this. There's some players here who seriously have to look at themselves and ask themselves, hey, have I been good enough? I'm going to call some names. Some people some people take it personally when I call some names, but those names make it easy for me to call them. First name I'm going to call, and you know who it is. You guys should know who it is. Kirk McKenzie. And I'm not calling Kirk McKenzie's name because once again, I'm going to say it. I don't have anything against Kirk McKenzie. I think he's a good young player. Just not ready for Test match cricket. That young man looks like he's not even at the Crown right now. He looks like he's in another hemisphere. West Indies did that young man a disservice when they selected him to go on this tour. Craig Brathwaite, you've been playing Test cricket for the better part of 15 years. Skipper, you got to step up. You've got to step up. You're the first line of defense. Jason Holder, you're part of the spine of this team. Yourself, Craig Brathwaite, De Silva, and Alzari Joseph are part of the spine of this team. What is happening now absolutely cannot continue to be the norm. Joshua De Silva, I've said it on numerous occasions. I don't think you're challenged enough. And because of the fact that there's no wicketkeeper batsman in the West Indies that's truly putting their hands up, you're getting away with some amount of mediocrity. Same goes to Alzari Joseph. We cannot keep looking at Alzari and saying, oh, he's so talented. Oh, he has great potential. It's time for that potential to be let loose. It's time for that talent to come to the fore. It's time for those 2 things to turn into production. Anyways, I'm not going to get into the finer details of the match. Jump down in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. What kind of changes you would like to see for Edgbaston? I am your host, Kevin Henry, for the Top of Off Cricket Podcast. See you next time.